Hello. Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Good. All right. I'm Raph. I'm here to talk about SYSMON and attack to feed your SIM. Who knows about SYSMON? Perfect. That's good. So I'm here talking about, those are my own opinions, not my employer's, basically. That's what I mean. If you have anything to do, contact your InfoSec authorities. I'm Raph. I'm a threat detection engineer for Canada Life. I got 3 SAN certs, GCIA, GCWin, and GCDA. I had 3 little ninjas at home. They couldn't come, but hopefully this is recorded for them. This is the agenda. Basically, we're just going to go high level what it is, how we use it, how you could use it, and then questions. Sorry, is that better? Yeah, good. So the path to the leads that leads to what we truly desire is long and difficult, but only following that path would achieve our goals. That's Master Splinter. I was told that you should put a quote in the talk, so here you go. So what is it? So again, everybody knows what SYSMON is, and the big lit. If you have a sock and you don't have SYSMON, that's your sock. If you have SYSMON, that's your other sock. All right, thanks. This is where you get it. I'll click on this just to go through it. Do it. I'm going unsave. Oh yeah, I'm not connected. Shit. Well, you go to SYSMON, you download it. If you didn't know, they're at version 15 now. It's moved on. Last time you touched it was 12, 13. You're missing out. There's new stuff they do, like file blocking. They've added a lot of stuff in there, and it's actually pretty good. There are some talks on how to evade those, but I mean, it's at this point your EDR should catch it. It shouldn't be that much. What's different with this guy is Ion Storm. He took the Swift on security, took all that nonsense, and made it just Mitre. So basically you got Mitre, you got Sigmas, you got everything. This is all it is. So it's more of a refined version of the SYSMON Swift on config. However, just Mitre based, and it gives you the opportunity to, go out, do your threat detection stuff, find a new tactic, you just plug it in there, and away it goes. And you can, we'll go through it later, but you'll see like how you can break it down. So this is the install plan, super complicated. You download the binary, reconfig or not. If you don't put a config, you're gonna roll over real quick because that shit's fast. But with this config, it should be good. Then, if you're serious about things, you'll want to set, a 2 gig size log because, again, that roll over like event ID 1 for process creation, that's gonna kill you right away. And this is how you update your config. Not complicated. Put the new config within seconds, your new detection, your new whatever rules you put in there, they trigger alerts and, well, for us, start coming in. And this is, when shit hits the fan, you hit this, uninstall force, it'll remove mostly everything. Sometimes there are some bugs where you try to remove it, and one of the biggest problems is you try to remove it, and it'll say, like, I don't know, I can't remove it because the file is not there. And you're like, well, I know you're there. You were just running a second ago. What the hell? This is some Windows magic, but drivers and services, they can get sticky. So the biggest tip for this one would be to use the pen file remove. So basically, you just set your script to, it's not there, but you just tell it, like, move those on reboot, and then you just let the box reboot, and eventually your script should redeploy it automatically. This is all, like, I got a framework going, but that's all on you. This talks about more like what this is, how you implement it. It's up to you, but I'll show you what we did for it. So this is kind of what's different from the Swift on security is that he put in like the actual, like this rule name is used in this context very much like SIM rules would work, where you attach, a criticality, a risk to it, the false positive rate, the name of the alert you want, and you can use these, just part of your raw message, or you can actually, parse them out as a key pair value. And then you can actually make this the rule where, it's looking for that string. Once it triggers, boom, you get an alert, and then the stuff inside goes into your alert. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You just, you find a new tactic, you plug it in there, and away you go. So if we go into this here a little bit, you'll see that this is event ID 1. And you can see we're going through the command line, and there's quite a bit on that first slide when you go to the actual SYSMON repo. It gives you all the clauses, you hear the conditions you can use and how to use them. And this top part, which, sorry, I forgot, this imp hash. All right, screw you. The imp hash. This is one of the biggest reasons for SYSMON. The fact that you don't just get the hash of what's running, you get the hash of not only, it's what imported in that order. So if I take Mimikatz, Eric Conrad had a good talk on that. If I take Mimikatz, rename it to Mimidogs, your SHA-1s and MD5 detections just got evaded. But the imp hash, if I don't change how you load Mimikatz, that'll be the same. So you can have Mimidogs, Mimikatz, but they'll have different hashes, but they imp hash the same. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And if you don't know what each event does, this is where the schema files will do it. So if you want to learn SYSMON for real, this is how you do it. You grab the schema, it shows you every alert, every field you can put. You just got to play with your exclude and include. So it's not, it takes a little bit of thinking about, but if you have, let's say, I can include everything and just have filters and everything's excluded. So everything that doesn't match include is included. Or I could flip it and have one exclude, which won't include those, but everything else is included. Or you can have a mix of both. So sometimes if you mess up, you'll add an exclusion thinking you're smart. You just open up the floodgates. So you gotta watch out with that, but this is the pieces that you're gonna play with. So the rule name, you can even tack that, with the UTC and everything. So, and this plays with this raw message. So this is what you're getting in the VTX. Where is it? It's not there. Hashes, right here. And it'll be like, it's actually here. So it'll be like here on the slide. You see import hash, which you don't see it, but this is what you would parse out. And now you could, find, if you mix the import hash and the process GUID, which is the other reason why SYSMON is better at it, because it'll take the process ID and the logon, the session ID, and mix them and create a process GUID, which is that GUID you can search along, and every other SYSMON ID that has process GUID. Now you have a timeline by default. So all you need to do is search that process GUID, and you have like process created, driver loaded, and execution. So it's pretty good for tying things together, especially for IR. That's what we're always thinking. So why you should use it? I went through some of them. This is kind of funny. So I asked ChatGPT, say, give me like a bunch of reasons why we should use SYSMON. And it was like pretty, like too boring. So I'm like, you know what? Take that and make it for a room full of nerds. And this is what it gave me. So you can unveil the underbelly. SYSMON is your secret weapon to unveil the mysterious inner workings of your Windows systems, which is true. There's stuff, once you turn that on, if you haven't, well, here's actually deployed SYSMON. Love you, man. Love you, man. What you'll know is you find stuff. You're like, what the hell is this? And you go look at it, and you're like, whoa, somebody's got the Kindle reader. And you're like, whoa, you don't know what Kindle reader until you turn that on. That is nuts. You would love it. You're like, oh, how do I attack this thing? Process Ninja skills. PowerShell, we'll get into that another day, but if it's not PowerShell, because that runs in memory, you get everything. So all the way up to PowerShell, you'll see how they got to there and got you a shell loading and doing stuff after which you've lost, unless you have PowerShell logging and transcription and script block logging, which is huge. But other than that, they'll get you up to that, and then you can get your IR team to get acquisitions and other stuff. But it'll give you a point. It's like, that's weird, which you've probably never seen until you turn that on. Registry scrap, it's not a joke. We've been told by some vendors, no, we can't do that. We're not looking at this part of the registry, which you can't blame them, because there's a lot of I/O going on. If you're going to look at the entire registry, you probably kill your whatever EDR is looking at it. So in this way, you get to do your own, saying I'm looking at, let's say, the fact that Defender is being turned off. Well, the other ADR doesn't really care; it's a different product. Now you can make your own, so you can have your own trigger, and remember that you can have your SIEM key on the alerts inside the rule name, so you don't need to have, you know, a very specific Defender rule. You could just say, hey, whenever, you know, this ID from this SYSMON event comes in with the string, boom, trigger, and then you can tell that, hey, somebody turned off Defender, for example. That's just one. Crafter rules, which goes to what I just said. Whatever, enough of that. Out-of-box Mitre. This is the fun part. This is what managers like. And they're like, well, what is this gonna give me? Well, this is it. So if you take one function, pull out all the tactics from that config, and then get another function to grab all the Mitre and then mix the two. Now you can, and a JSON template from the navigator. You just plug in, create your own JSON layer, give that to your TI team and say, hey, this is what we're covered for. So if you have any other coverage and you're missing some, this would definitely cover some of the branches that you're missing. Like, if, you know, and by the way, these two are like extensions on the side. They're like, I can't fit it, so that's what it is. And how we use it. This was fun. So the first, I've heard of modular SysMon. There's some that I have a QR code for one of those in there where you can pick out, like I want DNS and I want process and I want this. And then you just run a little script and it mixes your three things into a config that SysMon will import and do those three things. Kind of the same, but I have 4 different configs. One, DEFCON 4, you're starting with just Mitre, the regular stuff. Then you're starting to, you know, piss me off. So now I'm going to turn on all your DNS. By the way, that's how you do that. So basically, you take off your include rules. You put one exclude that excludes nothing. You're now including everything. DEFCON 2, more DNS plus all your processes. And DEFCON 1, this is one that it's like gloves are off. I think there's some, I definitely say there's probably some privacy issues with that one. However, if you're fighting with somebody that's actually like an actual attacker, you'll want their clipboard. And this is no joke. You're getting an event in the SIEM that says, here's what's in that guy's clipboard. Done. So if he's copying commands from a website, you're getting events as he's copying, which is within seconds. It's pretty quick. And this is the high-level tech. So this is how you make this work. So we got SCCM. That's your endpoint management solution. You can use whatever you want. I'm just going through what we have, but if you have something that matches that category, you can make it happen for yourself. The C2, which the reason for that is because, yeah, sure, you can use Windows event forwarding. That's nice. But since COVID, work from home's a thing. So now I don't know that I want to DMZ that for the event forwarders. So what we've done is created a C2 in the cloud. And basically that has access, it's just the web provider. And then we have the EDR sitting on there. We use HX with Event Streamer. That's our log beat. If you have another one, that's fine. I believe other vendors do that, like Carbon Black and other stuff. You can have Win log beat itself if you want. That's up to you. And our SIM is Trellix Helix, which is really good. It's really, really good. If you got the money, buy it, because it's definitely worth it. Now, this is the plan. So you have red team, blue team, and the SOC. Then you have HX. So from here, we deploy the HX config. HX is the EDR, remember? It's got Event Streamer. And in there, the module allows you to pick which event log source you want. There's a filtering tab, so I can filter out certain event IDs right from there. So this would be the, imagine you got an agent on the endpoint, and it's doing its agent things. And then it also has a module in there that keeps reaching out into your Windows logs and parsing them and shipping them straight to SIEM, which unbeatable. That's magic right there. Then we have a CCM. This is where the initial magic happens, where I give it the SysMon script. I give it all the tools that I need to kind of, you know, manipulate the flow of the endpoints, SysMon service and drivers and everything. once you hit the box, it's pretty much hands off, because the C2, that's an important part, that's where I put the config. So the initial config is part of the SCCM, so you deploy, so you get everything going first try. But and then from there, the minute it hits it, within minutes, Helix or SIEM has the events parsed and everything ready to go, because they've done that work, which is awesome right away. So what about updates? So I got a new rule I got to put in there. Well, there's a task running on all these that'll keep reaching out to the cloud. No different than good old attackers, and or Google Updater, for example. It's a task running, going to grab a payload, coming down. No different. This is just checking if the config's hash has changed, because everything's hash based. So if you within an hour, basically, because it's you got to put some delays. You don't want all your boxes to reach your server unless you can afford that. We can't. So you put a minute delay within seconds, so they're not all hitting the same box, and within that time frame, all your shit's done. Like you put a new update, boom, they stop triggering. The noise is here, boom, the noise is there. Tuning, filtering, new rules, everything, it just covers it all. This was actually, one evening. And this is the end result. It's hard to see, but those are the event IDs. So the first one is 3, so network-based, that's normal. 11, files created, registry values, you got your DNS, you got everything right there, boom. And this is from your endpoints. There's no man in the middle. This is the endpoint sending you the logs. This is what they're doing. Sure, you can get other telemetry from cloud, from this, but this is the source. You can't beat this. By the way, this is 24 hours, 100 machines. That's quite a bit. I mean, if you're looking for numbers, that's numbers. You gotta watch out, though. Again, we're leveraging actor techniques here. So once in a while, life's a beach. It just comes out to you and it goes, no, this is a ransomware. You're like, what? So FYI, I deployed, again, it's checking on an interval, pulling. We got 100 boxes doing this every hour. And yet this happens once every 100 calls. Like, okay. So ASR is kind of a mix, attack surface reduction from Microsoft. It kind of, it's like analytics a little bit. It realizes who you are, what you do, and your metadata, and then it has its rules, the two mix, and if it don't jive, you get a trigger. So it's kind of hit and miss. There's ways to get rid of this, but I don't know. I'm curious to see if some of the red teamers in here can help me bypass this. It'd be nice. And that's really it. Questions? And there's some new stuff, by the way. That's the SYSMON security, the one everybody uses nowadays. This is the post that talks about bypassing the new file block. So file block is kind of cool. If you've never played with it, it's basically this new event. SYSMON 14 and 15 started putting that in there. You put a hash, that hash will not block. Funny story, I deployed this not knowing it's on. All of a sudden I'm like, well, why am I not seeing Defender doing its updates anymore? Well, guess what? It didn't like it, so it just blocked it. And I mean, we got red teamers, can't disable Defender yet. This guy's just like, nope, you're not running. So you gotta watch out. So I took that off. I don't use the file block or anything. We have much other tech for that stuff. And then that's that modular config where if you wanna be very curated as to what you wanna import, you can grab a bunch of some of their code there. They show you how to make your own config from scratch. And that's it.